Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS authentic real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. It's Tim and Julie Harris, and this is your favorite daily real estate coaching and training podcast. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is one of the most important topics that we talk about, because we have maybe 12 topics that we talk about a lot, but this is definitely one of the top 3 things that we want you to be really clear about. And Julie has spent 3 hours researching today's outline, and it's the topic is agents, why buying leads is making you broke and what to do instead. And what we're going to do, and I looked at her notes prior to today's show, she's really drilled down, and we're not just going to say buying leads is this or that. We're going to give you the stats behind the lead quality, the amount that close, the lead sources. We're going to give you all the details that you must know. But I want to open your mind up into the fact that the era of buying leads and building especially buyer agent based businesses off bought buyer leads, that has a lot of B's, is over. And it's been over for quite a while. And it's going to stay over. It's not going to come back. It's actually going to get worse. And we're going to explain to you why the math doesn't work. Now, we're not going to get through all of our notes today. I mean, Julie's got, I don't even know how many points, Julie, honestly.
A lot.
A lot. Okay. So we're not going to get to a lot. We're going to get to
But that's for the newsletter. We're not going to drill down on everything. We're just going to give them the 30,000 foot view and expose them to that, and then they can drill down on their own.
That's right. So we're going to give you a top level of today's notes, but you're going to want these notes because these are pretty fantastic. Again, a lot of time researching this. Just go to harrisrealestatedaily.com. That is our free daily newsletter, harrisrealestatedaily.com. And you can subscribe to the newsletter, and it takes you 2 seconds to do. It is completely free, and you get all the notes from today's show, but you get all the notes, obviously, from previous shows, all kinds of exclusive members content. They're only for our community who have helped us build the newsletter. The newsletter is where we will share with you guys the things that we're going to be talking about in the next 2 weeks on the podcast primarily and get a lot of feedback on it. So yes, just go to harrisrealestatedaily.com. It's free. It's, going to provide hours of entertainment, especially if you listen to last week's show. We were talking about zany on Friday. We were talking about zany stuff like aliens and what other things we talked about on Friday. We had a lot of good positive feedback on that show.
All kinds of stuff. AI is always in there on some level, but yeah, it's a little bit different than our normal show.
All right, Julie. So let's get right in. Every day, agents hand over 40% of their commissions to lead selling companies. They call it marketing. We call it paying to stay broke. In 2025, the data is clear. 78 to 82% of all transactions still come from repeat and referral business. Right? That's from NAR. Yet agents collectively spend over $16 billion a year on paid leads and advertising. And that's from Housing Wire and Real Trends. The agents who thrive aren't the ones buying business. They're the ones building it. So we're going to break down the numbers so you can stop renting your pipeline and start owning it. So I'm going to start out with this one prevailing thought. You're going to be building a business. You are building a business. The only real value that your business is going to have, listen to what I'm telling you, it's not your brand. It's not your brand. I know that's what everyone's telling you, but it's not true. The only real values are centers of influence and past clients. Those two things mentally are not the same thing. You can spend hours and hours and hours building your brand, but you have no centers of influence to monetize. It's something like 50 or 60% of all agents after 5 years get almost, Julie, what percent of it was? Like 60%?
Like 80. Yeah. After 5 years is like 67%. After 7 years, it's in the 80s. But that assumes that they survive long enough to have that business come back to them.
Right.
And that's why we're talking about don't buy leads, because it's a great way to make yourself broke and check out of the business.
And what a lot of agents will tell you, a lot of bad training and coaching and mentoring will tell you, you have to buy your business when you get into the business. The exact opposite is true. You should never have to buy your business. And we're going to tell you what you should be doing instead that actually puts you in front of better quality leads that don't cost you anything. All right, Jules, let's roll into point number 1. Buying leads equals buying a job. What did you mean by that?
Well, lead companies, and there's certainly tons of them, they say hot prospects, but most deliver names, not relationships. And you're paying 30 to sometimes 40%. I've heard as much as 50% of your commission for each closing. It's like working for someone else. And that's before broker splits and taxes. So on a $10,000 typical commission, 4,000 is gone instantly. But it's not just that. Sometimes, and we've done the math on this, we've done podcasts about that. You can net maybe $2,000 or $3,000, or what are you doing? So again, on 10,000, you're kissing 4,000 goodbye. What's your action step? Well, look at your own past 12 months of closings and calculate how much came from paid sources. Then total what you paid in referrals or lead fees, and you'll see who's getting rich. It's probably not you if you're somebody who's used to buying those leads. And in fact, some of your EXP conversations, you go through this math, and it ends up being like you might as well have to sell 10 more homes a year just to pay the referral fees. What are you doing? So that's just doing the math.
What a referral fee, in essence, this is how you have to think of it. And this is me being me, but it's a lazy fee. So if you're willing to, you're basically paying a fee for not doing the real work of real estate yourself. And I'm not talking about learning how to do online lead generation. I'm talking about how to do offline, person to person proactive lead generation. So you're paying 40%, but it's even worse than that. Julie knows this too, but this will blow your mind. I know personally many people at EXP who have big real estate teams, and Julie and I are we have one of the biggest revenue share groups at EXP. And if you're interested in joining EXP Realty, let's have that conversation. The information is down below in the show description. If you're ready to upgrade your broker experience, if you're new agent, doesn't matter, you definitely want to consider partnering with Julie and I at EXP Realty. Again, the links are down below. But here's what I know. They are paying not only 40%, so you'll get let's say a commission comes in. It's going to be $10,000. They're going to pay 40% off the top. Then they're going to pay the buyer agent, typically 50%. And then they're going to, you guys can do the math. Now they're down to 70%. And then there's other, maybe broker fees, maybe all these other fees. So most of these teams, the best of times, are making about $1,200 off every buyer side. But what I've seen happen, and I'm going to explain to you why, is most of the big teams are they're losing money on the buyer sides, and they don't even know it, and they rationalize it because they're taking the profit and the revenue and the profit from the listing side, which generally speaking has high margins, and they're blending it with the buyer side to cover up the fact that the buying buyer leads into the business is not just broke, but it's making them, it's a terrible business model. So why is that true? Because not only are they charging the 40% referral fee, but they're also charging, and this is Zillow in particular, is charging some of these guys $10,000 a month flat fee in addition to the 40% referral fee. Think about that. Now, if you're dealing with relo, how about this? You accept a relo lead. The relo lead comes in, great lead, great buyer, whole thing. They're going to close in 90 days. Sounds like a great lead. But the referral fees on those deals start after, let's say you're a 100% agent or a 90% agent. Well, what happens is if you accept a relo lead for most relocation companies, your broker automatically kicks you down to essentially a 50-50 split. And then you have to pay the referral fee off that. So you end up working for hundreds of dollars. You'd been way better off if you'd worked at Starbucks and spending 3 nights and weekends trying to sell a house. Oh, that's how I build my business, because from those people become my centers of influence and past clients. No, they don't, because when they leave town and they take their next job transfer, they're still attached to that relocation company, and that relocation company is going to send in a different agent to get the listing. And that agent's not going to make any money off of it either, because agents, the only reason that these fees and these referral fees and these buying lead fees and all this Mickey Mouse exist isn't because it's it isn't because it's too complicated to generate your own business. It's because it's a lazy fee. That's how you have to.
Because they know you'll pay it.
Because they know you'll pay it. And because everybody else, it's an echo chamber. You're new in the business. You want to build your business, buy leads, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff back and forth. Who else other than Julie and I are telling you guys the truth? Where's their incentive structure to tell you guys to buy leads? Think about it. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, I know. Because they're being paid to. That's why. Because advertise, promotion, they do live events. Look in the back of the room. Notice how all those companies are in essence either direct paid lead companies or 1 degree from paid lead companies. That's the reason that the people that are on stage are the ones that are proponents oftentimes of the buying business. And if you're a broker and office manager and you go to this national convention for your brokerage and there's all these people up on stage that are being proponents of buying leads, you're not going to necessarily question their motivation. You're going to assume that's the way to go about doing it. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's what happens. That's the echo chamber. And then some agent gets into the business. I want to build my business. And they're caught in the churn and they drowned and they never make any money. Because they did not, a lot of them didn't stumble across our podcast yet. You guys are the smart ones. You guys are the ones that are going to make the most money in 2026 and going forward. Don't buy leads. All right, Julie, point number 2.
Which brings us to our philosophy number 2, the teach a person to fish principle. When you buy leads, maybe you eat for a day, maybe not even. But when you learn to proactively lead generate, you eat for a lifetime because you're building your own pipeline. That gives you control, consistency, confidence. If you want to move up market, you can. If you want to move across country, you can. We have lots of coaching clients where their spouse got relocated. They have the confidence to move forward quickly. So that's the action step. Schedule 2 hours daily for proactive lead generation. We teach you exactly what to do, exactly how to say it, so that you can have confidence and not pay those referral fees and those monthly fees. Monthly fees are even worse. You have to pay even if you don't convert anything. So that's the teaching man.
Point number 3, referrals still rule the market. According to National Association of Realtors 2025, Julie's using information fresh off the press.
Hot off the presses, yeah.
There you go. 81% of all sellers and 86% of buyers say they would use or recommend their agent again. Yet most agents never follow up. Referrals convert at a 4 times higher rate of paid leads and cost nothing but consistency. Action step, reconnect with 5 people daily from your database. Ask questions using the Ford framework, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Keep notes and follow up quarterly. So I did not tell you, and I'm never going to say, and neither will any of our coaches ever suggest that following up digitally by mail or pumpkin pies at the door is the same thing as having a conversation. What you will do, what most agents do, and they're going to pay the lazy fee as a result of this, is they will spend all kinds of money and time doing anything possible not to actually have to have a conversation because it makes them uncomfortable because they don't know what to say. If you have a choice, okay, so centers of influence and past clients, our whole, and we can tell you an elaborate plan to follow up with them, but here's what I know. The breakage, anytime your plan becomes more than maybe 1 or 3 steps, is nearly 100%. In other words, it doesn't work. Picking up the phone, having meaningful conversations, being of service to folks, offering to help them or someone else they know that might be thinking about buying or selling real estate, that's what we actually coach you to do. And it costs you nothing. And it costs you nothing. There are no referral fees for calling those people. And we also know that the only real value of your business ultimately are going to be your repeat and referral from your centers of influence and past clients. That is where you're going to build long-term value for yourself and for your family because you've got a business now that, look, you're always going to have to proactively lead generate. You're always going to have to directly contact with people and have conversations with them. So where does all the social media and the AI stuff live? It lives reinforcing the conversations you're having. Real conversations with real decision-making adults, and the AI and the social media is reinforcing you to them. That's it.
It's in support of, not instead of. There's a big difference.
It's not exactly 100%. All right, Julie, let's go. Know your numbers. Know the numbers. Know your freedom.
Okay, so this is an interesting little stat here. In 2025, relationship-driven businesses like repeat and referral generated $82 billion in U.S. commissions compared to $18 billion from advertising and paid lead sources. And yet, remember, our top stat was how much you guys blow billions of dollars on the leads. So that ratio does not make sense. You would think spending all that money would create all those leads, but in fact, $82 billion in repeat and referral versus only 18 from paid lead sources. So then,
you know what you almost did, Julie? What was that thing that Zoe?
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
What was that? I still don't know what the hell that's about. Do you?
It means nothing. That's the whole point of it. That's why the kids think it's funny.
Six,
seven
seven
business, and you have to make your hand. No.
I'm fearful that it does mean something, and we just haven't researched it yet to find out what the heck it means.
It's related to some sports thing and some basketball thing, but even in that game that it originated from, if you follow the breadcrumbs, that still means nothing.
Okay. Well, all right.
Hopefully it goes away soon.
Yes. All right. If you don't have little kids and you don't watch South Park, you don't know what we're talking about. And by the way, go you. All right. So,
okay. So that kind of step speaks for itself. We can go to number 5.
Okay.
And you were just talking about this. Use social media and now AI as a relationship multiplier, not as a crutch. It's in addition to, it's in support of, it's not instead of. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, those are tools to reinforce real connections, not to replace them. Agents who treat social media as a networking amplifier, not some kind of lead trap, win every time. And we usually use the example, I got that deal from Facebook. No, you didn't. You wouldn't have that relationship on Facebook if they weren't already a past client, a friend, somebody in your center of influence.
Do you guys understand what you just said? That's the lie. That's the manipulation. When you go to an event and some agent's saying they get 60% of their business from their centers of influence and past clients, and you guys, or I'm sorry, from their social media and whatever, and you guys just stop at that, you don't really drill down on it. What they're doing is they have a center of influence and past client list, most likely. And what they're doing is they're putting that into, say, Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and they're marketing directly to those people, their centers of influence and past clients folks. So that's already a captive audience that's getting essentially marketing messages. This is when when Bob and Josephine Smith decide that they're thinking about putting their house for sale, and they message that agent who is their past agent, and they message them through Facebook. What that agent's going to do, no, I don't think they're even thinking about this, is they're going to say they got the lead from Facebook. Get it? Because they got messaged from Facebook. That doesn't mean the lead, they would have gotten that lead anyway had they picked up the phone and called Bob and Josephine. You guys get the point
It's
here?
called social media, so it's okay to be social in real life. You don't have
Right.
to do it all digitally.
Don't do either. Don't do one or the other. If you have to choose one, do the proactive lead generation. Don't worry about the other stuff, because the other stuff is just basically backfill. And again, what a lot of you will do is you'll say, "Oh, I'm going to hit the lazy button. I'm sorry, the easy button. I mean the lazy button. And I'm just going to basically load my centers of influence and past clients, and I'm going to come up with a whole bunch of AI created social media content, and I'm going to drip on them,
I'm gonna blast them with cat videos.
which means that you're going to get of 100, say you loaded 100 people in there, and let's say in the next 24 months, say 30 of those would have done a transaction, you might be able to capture 8 or 12 because you weren't actually having meaningful direct conversations with them. That's the lazy tax. All right, Julie, let's go on. Point number 6, your database is your gold mine. Boy, we really are on a theme today, aren't we?
Okay, well, I have a great example hot off the presses of this. You don't need more followers, you need more follow through. Agents who speak with their database daily, earn 10 times more repeat business. That is from list reports from last month. Action step, commit to at least 5 real conversations before noon every workday. Use your CRM to track touch points, birthdays, anniversaries. That's some place where you can use social media to support your conversations, right? So last coaching call I had, our coaching client made 20 contacts. So that was 5 a day for 1 week. Found out that one of her people in her database had just found out they were being relocated. Wouldn't have known that without calling. Wouldn't have known that just by posting a TikTok video. The other person she found out was an investor who she had no idea. This was an investor, a past client, who already had more than 10 investment properties. They weren't just dabbling, they were seriously gathering rental properties. She had transacted with them in the past, but didn't know that they were an actual investor. You don't find that out unless you're having real conversations. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I'm ready to go on. Let's go on to point number 7. Deliver a legendary service. 88% of buyers and 84% of sellers say they'd work with their agent again. That's again from the National Association of Realtors of this year. But only 12% actually do, because their agent disappears after closing. Just doing social media, just essentially sending them digital stuff, just putting tchotchkes and crap in the mail is in essence disappearing, though a lot of agents just disappear, thinking, oh, they'll call me when they're ready to transact again. Huge mistake. Oh, by the way, if you've got agents in your office, and you do, who have quit the real estate business, but while they're in the business sold real estate, ask your broker if you maybe can, call those folks and ask, treat them as if they're your center of influence and past clients, because that agent's out of the business. Make sure they're out of the business and didn't just leave, change brokers though.
That's right. I'll give you an example. Tammy Irby, Northern Virginia, fantastic agent and broker. Okay. She knows this stat that most agents never talk to their past clients ever. Okay. So what does she do? Every time there's a buyer who buys one of her listings, everything goes great. They know each other from the transaction. She adopts that buyer into her database. Now, if that previous agent happens to follow up, that's great. But 9 times out of 10, they never hear from that buyer's agent again. So that's another way to beef up your database.
In other words, it's her listing. Buyer agent brought the buyer. She's adopting the buyer. This is Julie. This is
holding them in.
All right, but this is something we have been talking about for decades, adopting the other clients, but that's what you do. And you put them in your database because, statistically that agent's not going to be around when their buyer becomes the seller of the listing that you sold to them. They're probably not even going to be in the business anymore. But if you've built a center of influence, you adopted them as your center of influence and past clients, as if they had been your direct client, they're just going to remember you when it comes time to actually transact because you've earned the right to be of service to them. Makes sense, right? That's the way life works, guys. Deliver legendary service. 88% of, did we read this one already?
We did that. We're on point number 8.
Okay, that's what I thought. Sounded familiar.
Hosting events and staying visible. Again, IRL in real life, visibility beats advertising. Client appreciation events, neighborhood coffee meetups, holiday gatherings. That builds trust faster than any Facebook or TikTok thing does. Okay. So action step, and most of our coaching clients, especially our elite clients, are doing a lot of this fourth quarter. In-person events, one per quarter at least. It doesn't have to be fancy. It could even piggyback on somebody else's event. We have an entire podcast dedicated to your 12-month center of influence plan that talks about these types of events.
And also, we talk about this, all these points. These are just overview points, right?
Yeah.
But we talk about this a ton in Premier Coaching. So if you're not in Premier Coaching, what the heck are you waiting for? It costs you nothing. Just go to premiercoaching.com and you can read about the program. But again, there's no risk. You can join 100% for free. No contracts, no gotchas, no cancel fee. We know you're going to love it when you're in it because it also includes a daily semi-private coaching session. By the way, we've upgraded the daily private coaching sessions. So the thousands of you that are already in Premier Coaching, make sure you're attending the upgraded daily coaching sessions. It's very, frankly, we've worked so hard on it in the last 6 months. Premier Coaching, all the other enhanced content, because we know that 2026 is going to be a breakout year for the industry, and we have to be able to, frankly, help as many of you become successful because of this new market as we can. So if you're not yet in Premier Coaching, go to premiercoaching.com or click the link below. All right, Julie, host events. Did we just do that one?
We did that. We can
Okay.
they can read about number 9. We kind of touched on that. Number 10 is play the long game. Again, about relationships. Repeat and referral clients cost less, close faster, and are easier to serve. They also refer more people who are just like them. So one thing to do, especially fourth quarter, identify your top 25 past clients or people in your sphere and build a VIP relationship plan. Quarterly check-ins. You can do CMA updates, handwritten notes, pop-bys, personalized property updates, all of those things. You should have a top 25 because they're most likely to be referring to you.
And what we did, what we did, and we have all of our top clients do, is if you have anyone that tried to refer you business, anyone you think tried to refer you business, whether it's stuck or not, you have to treat those people like gold, and you have to reinforce those folks because we call them bird dogs. So if you end up having like 20 or 30 bird dogs in the marketplace after you've been in the business for say 5 or 10 years, that means there's 20 or 30 people out there that are always going to be, tuning their frequency to look for potential leads for you, but you have to thank them. You have to thank them a lot. You have to treat them special. You have to spoil them. All right, Julie, the math of momentum, how relationships build wealth. If you're consistently contacting your sphere and database daily, and we give you a whole plan for doing this in Premier Coaching, we tell you what to say, we tell you how frequently to call, you're never going to be an annoyance, you're always bringing something of value. They'll
take your call. They're happy to talk to you.
Because that's how we've designed the script. So they're going to want to have your call because you're almost always bringing really great news or something they're going to find, of value. Just 5 real conversations per workday. That works out to be 100 meaningful contacts per month. Even at a conservative rate, 2 repeat and referral transactions per month equals 24 per year. What's your average commission, right? So $10,000 equals $250,000, and that is referral fee free business.
No lead, 5 contacts a day. Come on.
To people that already know, love, and trust you. Oh, I'm too busy. Okay. Well, what are you doing? I've got to record 10 TikTok videos today of me dancing with my cat. No, if you want to do those cat dancing videos, instead, let's use AI. By the way, did I tell you, Julie, AI is actually doing all the cat videos now too?
I figured because they've gotten pretty funny.
Well, one of the biggest,
even better.
Yeah, people love the silly cat videos, I keep saying cat videos like I'm making fun of them. No, I'm a fan. Okay.
And your gorilla videos and
the gorilla, all that stuff. But AI is doing a better job than the people.
Hilarious.
It is hilarious. In any event, no lead fees, no marketing splits, no 40% cut to someone else, no lazy fees, just relationship-based income, and you own 100%. So I'm going to conclude for you guys. At the end of the day, you cannot build your castle on land you do not own. And if you're buying your business, if you're doing marketing and branding, if you're waiting on the portals, if you're waiting on the Google algorithm and all this other stuff to basically serve business to you, you will always be beholden. You will always wonder if the algorithm is going to change. You're always going to wonder, as you build your castle, right? You're always wondering if someday somebody's going to come in and rug pull and say they want the land back, which means that your castle has no value. By the way, in real life, there are actually things called land leases, and that they don't exist everywhere, where you will build, and they're typically 100-year land leases. Julie and I had some rental properties out in California, and we sold them as soon as we saw the land lease wasn't going to get renewed. So we bought these 2 condos when the land lease had like 50 years left on them. Wasn't that right?
47, yep.
And everyone was saying, oh, they're going to get renewed. They're going to get renewed. Well, then we researched it, and we found out after we closed, that the families that had inherited all this property on coastal California were all like, nope, we're not going to renew those land leases. And so the condos, of which there were a ton of them, 200 something, They basically are going to be owned by the owners of the land and when the land lease expires, because or they're going to hold out and negotiate for a ridiculous amount of money.
I'm sure.
That's what's
Yeah.
going to happen. So
Well, why is that a thing? Because it becomes unfinanceable when it's less than 30 years and it has that uncertainty, our favorite word, right?
from earlier
So
in the
yeah,
year.
owning, building your property or owning something on somebody else's land is actually a thing.
Yeah,
We're not
well,
making it
again,
up.
if you want to have, this is the reason that Julie and I are doing our best to help you understand. In real estate, your real estate business has no value. No one's ever really going to buy it. Don't believe it if anyone's telling you that. It's just not true. Find me some examples where they did sell it for something other than the business that
Referral
comes from
fees.
other than the business that comes from the referral fees that they collect from their centers of influence and past clients. Okay. That's the only value, and that's great value. Go you. And ultimately, your center of influence and past client list is your value. Julie and I have not sold real estate for quite a while now. We still get referrals from our centers of influence and past clients and refer them off to agents back where we sold real estate in Central Ohio, right? And it's been how long? 20 years?
20 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, 20 years. So there you go. And we still get referrals from it. So just keep all this in mind. In the meantime, guys, you have a fantastic day. Remember, please like, subscribe. And if you're over in iTunes, which a lot of you are, or even on Spotify, please give us a 5-star review and leave a pithy comment why you like the show. Look, we love doing this podcast for you guys every day. It takes a lot of time, but we know we're helping thousands and thousands of you. So please pay it back a little bit and give us a 5-star review over on iTunes. We'd certainly appreciate it. In the meantime, have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow. Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. And don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video. And remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.